Thanks for staying with the NCN 6 o'clock news. President Barry Jagdeo has joined with CARICOM to call for the removal of the U.S. trade embargo on Cuba. During a press conference on Saturday, the head of state highlighted this and other aspects of his recent visits to Cuba and Brazil. More in this report.
President Barry Jagdeo knows that Cuba and CARICOM have shared a unique relationship through the years, with the former providing major support to the Caribbean nations, especially in health and education.
Cuba is playing a significant role in the development of these countries, particularly the building of human resources capacity. Some countries may not even have a functional health system without the Cuban presence.
The countries have also called for an end to the U.S. trade embargo on Cuba, which was imposed on the Fidel Castro government in February 1962. President Jagdeo believes that this is critical if international integration is to be advanced.
We think it's time to end this anachronism. It's the last vestige of the Cold War, and we need to end that in this hemisphere so that the Cuban people can also benefit from a full integration with the rest of the world.
Some 180 countries have petitioned to the United Nations for an end to the embargo, and hopes are high that the newly elected Obama administration will make this part of its agenda. Meanwhile, President Jagdeo has also highlighted the importance of his recent visit to Brazil, which was aimed at discussing the financial crisis and the regional response to the situation. To this end, delegations have agreed to establish a working group which will address the peculiarities of the region.
We need to focus more on how, and how that is how we will advance our positions in the international arena, so that in the workout of the new global financial architecture, that this region, Latin America and the Caribbean, will have a significant space in that workout and will help to determine, to influence how it's created.
The Guyanese leader believes that countries often argue about what must be done and fail to consider how it can be made possible. This, he says, has been a stumbling block in the region. President Jagdeo was among leaders attending the 3rd CARICOM-Cuba summit who made this call. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
Minister of Labour Mansour Nadir says employers are under pressure to produce and deliver, but advises against overworking employees. The minister says workers too may want to earn extra and therefore are forced to work extra long hours during this Christmas season. Nicole Telford has the details.
Labour Minister Mansour Nadir is calling on employers to review their system of extra working hours for their employees at the Christmas holidays.
There have been some reports that some businesses mandate their staff to work excessive hours, and they could be breaching the labour laws in that instance.
Minister Nadir advises that employers hire temporary staff to facilitate the 12 to 16 hours period businesses will be open throughout the season. The minister has also expressed concern about persons being abused on the job.
There are some laws that will protect the worker from exertion or overexertion and from excessively long hours. And businesses have to understand that it's in their best interest to ensure they don't burn out their employees.
The Labour Minister said Labour officers continue inspections of businesses and workplaces, adding that employers found in breach of the law will be penalized. Nicole Telford, NCN 6 o'clock news.
President Barry Jagdeo is in favor of providing training for single parents under the recently announced Single Parent Fund. He says government can pay for the training programs. However, other areas need to be considered, such as monetary allowances. Details from Monica Jones.
Several suggestions have been put forward to assist single parents in Guyana, and President Barry Jagdeo announced that among them is training, which he favors. The head of state says it is important for them to have alternatives which will assist them in being self-sufficient.
Cabinet, and there are about 4 suggestions. But definitely training is a very important one for me, to train the single parents to have alternatives. So I've already said that we should try to, as far as possible, identify those single parents who need training to go down back to another level now and to put in place training programs for them. And
the head of state added that government can pay for the training programs. However, other areas need to be considered, such as monetary allowances. The president said that during Cabinet's next meeting, this subject could be on the agenda.
There are some things about giving money, a little money, and then that becomes a little problematic too. And then we found that some of the single parents are already on public assistance. So there are a few things that we have to work out a bit more. But that training module, I've already given instructions that we should pursue the training module with full force, whatever it takes. If we could train all of them in 1 year, which would be impossible, then we should do that. We'd find the money to do that.
Government has allocated $100 million to the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security for the Single Parent Fund. Onika Jones, the 6 o'clock news.